million by December this year. Kazi Maju alone. And then we have Nyota for those young people who want to do business. You have seen the president going around the country, launching the business support program for Nyota, which is initially targeting 121,000 young people. There will be another 90,000 young people who will be assisted to acquire skills. We will get them some place, some TVET to go and study. We will even give them a stipend of 6,000 to commute to and fro so that they acquire skills, especially those ones that are completely unskilled. But we also have a component on AGPO, access to government procurement, and in total, the Nyota program is targeting 820,000 young people, close to 1 million. And the president has said that Nyota will be expanded, and we will put our own money to even double the ongoing size of that program going into the future. Tuendelee tusiendelee. That is on job creation. We have Nyota, we have Kazi Maju, we have Kazi Mtandaoni, we have public infrastructure projects, and finally, we are also employing people in the public service. The private sector has been enabled also to expand jobs. So those are the pathways we are using to create jobs and income opportunities for our young people. Number 7 is energy. I think right now, when we took over in 2022, the number of homes that were connected to electricity were 8.8 million households. In the last 3 years, we have added another 1.3 million households. Today, as at this morning, we have 10.2 million households connected. I know your booklet says 10.06, but I have checked this morning, that data is about 1 month old. So today's figures is 10.6 households. And as you are aware, we have 15.6 households in Kenya, meaning we are left with only about 4.4 million households to achieve universal electricity connectivity. I am convinced beyond doubt, in a very short period of time, in the next, even if next 3 years, we will achieve universal electricity connectivity. And by the way, we also need to be fair to ourselves. Vision 2030, which is coming to an end in 4 years' time, had envisaged a Kenya with universal electricity connectivity by 2030. The UDA government has accelerated that vision. We will achieve it before 2030. Number 8 is on, I'm almost finishing now. Number 8 is on infrastructure. You know very well our roads had stalled, many roads across the country because of funding problems. Some were stalled for 10 years, others 12 years, others 14 years, and more. President Ruto has helped us come with innovative ways of raising our own resources, not borrowed resources, to revive and complete all stalled road projects in Kenya. And in the last 1 year, we have been able to raise, through securitization of just a portion of the fuel levy road maintenance fund, we've been able to securitize and get 175 billion shillings, and we are also about to get an additional 120 billion shillings. In total, we are raising 300 billion shillings to make sure that we complete our roads program across the country. And we are not raising taxes, and we are not borrowing money to build our roads. You have also, as you're aware, you know we have started dualing Rironi Mau Summit, isn't it? So we have started dualing Rironi Mau Summit. no new taxes, no debt. Isn't it? The president has announced that for us to move to the next level, we need to build more roads. Between independence, 1963, and now, we've built only 20,000 kilometers of roads. The president has said in the next 7 years, we will move that number from 20,000 kilometers in 60-something years, 62 years. In 7 years, we'll build a new 28,000 kilometers of road. We are dualing roads. We are dualing other roads. In a month or so, you'll see the president working on the Mombasa Road from Chumvi Junction all the way to Emali. Very soon, later in the year, Makutano, Embu, Chuka, all the way to Meru, Maua, and there are other roads, including Namanga to Kitengela, including getting the road in Marwa, extending it all the way to Nyeri Town, Nanyuke, Isiolo, and all the other roads. You have seen the president has helped us as UDA to deliver a life-changing road project that touches on a vast area of our country that for a long time had been left behind. The famous road. Niseme nisiseme. Niseme nisiseme. Rais alisema barabara itatoka Mandera. Niendelee nisiendelee? Kitoka Mandera ikuje Ramu. Itoke Ramu ikuje Gare. Itoke Gare ikuje Kobo. Ikuje Kobo. Niendelee. Ikuje Kobo, ikuje Kotulo, ikuje Wajia, ikuje Samata, ikuje Modogashe, ikuje Kulamawe, mpaka ingie Isiolo. Rais ni fire, si fire. Ni fire, si fire. That road is being built now by this administration. When President Ruto, ni watu Yakobo ama Waelwak. Very well. So, when President Ruto was sworn in as president, the intention was to maram the road from Lamu, Ijara, Garissa, and Isiolo. President Ruto said it should be tarmacked. It is being tarmacked today, all the way from Lamu to Ijara, to Garissa, to Isiolo, and already almost 121 kilometers have already been tarmacked. Rais ni fire, si fire. UDA ni fire, si fire. Mheshimiwa Rais, there are many things. Allow me just to summarize by saying, I am convinced we have done a good job. I am convinced whatever has not been done will be done before the next election. And I am convinced we will defend our scorecard in the next year's election. Going into the future, the president has led us to envision a new Kenya and the transformation of our country from a third world economy to a first world economy in a single generation. Other countries have done it, we can do it. Singapore did it, we can do it. Malaysia did it, we can do it. South Korea did it, we can do it. China, for example, in 1978 was a poor country. 40 years later, by 2020, China had moved to be the second largest economy in the world, and they had succeeded in pulling 800 million Chinese people from abject poverty. It is possible for us also to pull the 22 million Kenyans who live in poverty today, abject poverty. We can pull them upwards and create a first world economy in one generation. The first thing we do is to modernize our agriculture. We stop relying on rainfall and clouds. We stop depending on clouds to survive. And the president has said we need water harvesting. That's how you transform and modernize agriculture. 50 mega dams, 200 mini dams, and over 1,000 smaller dams. The 200 are the mid-sized dams, and the smaller dams are over 1,050 mega dams. The size of Dwake, those big dams like High Grand Falls and others. Then we harvest water, transform our agriculture, add value, and make sure that we create wealth and create jobs in the agricultural sector, but water is critical. Number two, we need to increase our power so that we can have enough energy for our industries. We are now at 3,000 megawatts. We want to create another 7,000 megawatts to have 10,000 megawatts of power. And finally, we will need also to be able to move forward, have enough resources to do modern infrastructure, roads, railway, seaports, and also airports. That's why we must build a new airport, and the president is already seized of the matter, and I know in the next 1-2 months, we'll break ground and build a new airport. That is why the president in 2 months will be launching the extension of the railway line from Naivasha, through Narok, through Bomet, through Nyamira, through Kisumu, into Malaba, and into Uganda. That is why, after we do Rironi Mau Summit, the president will lead us again to extend that road in 2 ways. One way through Eldoret to Bungoma and Malaba, another way through Kericho, Kisumu, into Malaba. Rais ni fire, si fire. That is why we are modernizing the Kenya Ports Authority in Mombasa. I've spoken to KPA this morning. Soon the president will go there to groundbreak for a modernization program for Mombasa Port. And we are going to get 41 billion shillings through innovative funding models to modernize the Port of Mombasa. So seaports, airports, railway, roads, and energy, and agriculture. If we do that, Kenya will move from the third world to the first world in a generation. Rais, mimi unikubalie niwachie hapo. Hii story ni mrefu. And I wonder, the people who are saying we have not implemented our commitments, I don't know in which country they live. But because today is not the day to respond to those characters, tutakutana nao huko. Juzi wataona ile waliona siku ile ya Mbeere North. Mnaona siku hizi kiburi imepungua pale Mbeere North, walinyolewa na Wamuthende, walinyolewa na Kalinda, walinyolewa niseme. Allow me to call 3 other interveners so that we don't take too long. The 2 leaders of majority will have a maximum of 10 minutes each, just to tell us how the 2 houses of parliament have respectively supported the executive to deliver, so that nobody leaves here thinking that it is only the president to take credit or only the executive. All of us have done something. And after they finish, I'll call them in quick succession. Finally, Governor Ses Mbarire, who is the chairperson, the national chairperson of UDA, will come and tell us, also in 10 minutes, what our county governments, both our governors and our county assemblies, have done to partner with the national government to realize the successes that we are talking about here today, so that we live here as one family, knowing that everybody, from the MCA to the senator, to the member of the National Assembly, to the governor, to the president, everybody has contributed to the successes we have achieved so far. UDA ni fire, si fire. Ni noma, si noma. Wacha nione mbwekse ya rais. Kuja wewe Aaron. Wapi makofi ya Aaron Cheruiyot, leader of majority?
Thank you. DP ni noma si noma. Wapi makofi ya Deputy President wetu. Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy, and all the leaders that are gathered here. Listening to that presentation, and particularly coming at this time when we are presenting from the legislative side, we celebrate, first of all, just immediately coming after you, DP, a very important, this is on a light note. It is not part of our assignment, but listening to you, Deputy President, we celebrate the decision of Parliament on the 17th of October, 2024. Because we were conversing there with the Chungu and we were saying, what if? I don't want to say beyond that. So even us as Parliament, we have delivered in so many other ways. Your Excellency, I'll present the report of the Senate. First of all, I appreciate that the UDA party, Your Excellency, in the Senate we have 22 elected senators, 22 out of 47. That is a record. 22 out of 47 elected senators and 9 out of 20 nominated. Meaning, you know, sometimes I hear people claim that they are the largest party. We don't claim, we actually are. Because the party that comes second to that has only 16. So there's a huge difference between us and them. And I want to believe that going into the next election, we will grow that number even beyond 22, so that we are able to transact business and do the transformational work that we need to do as a legislature. I want to appreciate the support that we have received from the executive side. We have done our part also. The call of leadership is to rise to the challenges of the day. And many times, we at the legislature, when we receive legislative proposals from the executive, we take our time and share our thoughts, infuse that which we feel will work better for the country, and finally send it over to the president for assent, and it becomes law. And many times we do that fully aware that we went to the campaigns together, you led us as a team, and there are promises that we made to the people of Kenya, which we in Parliament work hard to ensure that we implement. You know, Parliament as an institution, I was trying to imagine, there is no other institution that gets as much flack and battered from the cynics that are in plenty in this country, that we sometimes just sing to the tune of the executive, we do things that are not progressive, and it is possible for somebody who doesn't follow through to understand and see how our work as parliamentarian knits together with the work of the executive to achieve the common vision that we are trying to attain together as a team. I stand here to report to the council today that as Parliament, we have done our bit as well. I think through each of the items that the DP has spoken to, and I see all the work that the various members of the committees that are here did, moving around the country in public participation, arguing in our committee halls, finally debating in the committee, in the chambers of the Parliament, before eventually concluding on the work to send it here for assent. I imagine, Your Excellency, how each of the work that we have done has transformed the lives of the people that voted for us to be members of Parliament. And I sleep proudly as leader of majority alongside my colleagues, knowing that though many other people may not appreciate, and sometimes people say not very nice things about us as members of Parliament, I know that we have been part and parcel of this team, and we have done things that have helped the Kenya Kwanza administration attain the record of the score that you're hearing this morning. The DP has spoken about the health, universal health coverage, and I must appreciate Parliament because we passed the 4 health laws: the digital health law, facility improvement fee fund, the primary health care, and the Social Health Authority Act. At that particular point, I want to appreciate, I know we have members of the County Assembly from Turkana County. We actually passed those 4 laws at the chamber of Turkana County Assembly while we were doing Senate Mashinani. And they have the signature of Turkana because Turkana is one of the counties that a lot of work needs to be done, Your Excellency. Yesterday, just yesterday, we were with the Deputy President in one of the most rural facilities in the county where I come from. And the chairperson of that health dispensary actually reported in the meeting that we were in that just last month, that facility had received from the Social Health Authority a compensation of 1.3 million Kenya shillings. Something that has never happened previously. So somebody may sit and wonder, so where does SHA sit alongside all these things? It is the ability to improve our health centers, right from the dispensary up to the level 6 facilities, through those laws that were carefully drafted and passed in Parliament, that we as parliamentarians sit here today and appreciate and say we made our contribution into making Kenya a great republic. I celebrate you, our colleagues, members of Parliament, for the work that you did. The agriculture sector that the Deputy President spoke about here, Your Excellency, there is still work to be done. But today, as we sit here, I know by 2022, when we came, almost all the 3 major cash crops, for example, which is sugar, coffee, and tea, they needed significant adjustment of the laws that were governing that sector. We have concluded the one for sugar. I know Kimani loves saying that the one for coffee has delayed in the Senate, but I'll be quick to add also that the one for tea is in the Assembly. So we need to conclude on those 2. But as it is, Your Excellency, I represent, this is from a personal experience. In the county that I represent in the Senate, we have both sugarcane, coffee, and tea farmers. Because of the transformation that the DP was speaking about, today, back in the day, if you went to a particular town where all the 3 farmers interact, you could easily tell who is the sugarcane farmer, because they were impoverished, they were in very difficult state. As it is today, the sugarcane farmer actually loans the tea and the coffee farmer. And the coffee farmer is also not badly off. In fact, many times, and I have said this, Kenyans are not very generous with their appreciation of the work that leaders do. But in the last 2 years, in all the public functions that I have been, where coffee farmers are in good number, they actually pick the microphone and say, go and pass our appreciation to the president and the government because of the reforms that have been done in the coffee sector. That doesn't happen very often in our society. You know very well that the people we represent sometimes don't appreciate the work that leaders do, but they appreciate because they know what has been done. There is still work to do in the in the tea sector, Your Excellency, and that we shall do because we know we still have sufficient time and the things that we need to do. Quickly, moving on, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on the things that we have done on that particular front. At the level of the county assemblies, and we must celebrate also UDA as a party. I just checked and I confirmed also, though I didn't check this morning like you, Your Excellency. I realized you checked everything this morning. I know for a fact that UDA also has the largest control of 22 out of 47 county assemblies. We have majority leadership of 22 out of 47 county assemblies in this country. And I know one of the requests that you made here in a previous meeting with the members of the county assembly is to grant financial autonomy to our county assemblies. I am proud many MCAs spoke in that meeting that day, Your Excellency, and they said they find it not proper that they sometimes have to go before the executive of county governments where they have disagreed to beg even for funds for operations. And you did direct that morning and said, Majority Leader, if you still want to keep your job, that situation needs to stop. I am glad to report to this council this morning that that now is a thing of the past, Your Excellency, and we celebrate the work that has been done in that particular regard. Thirdly, I am giving the report on behalf of the Senate. That's a part that I have to do. Overall, listen, my friend, you will get the opportunity during plenary. But just to explain to you, once we do our work as Senate, we send it over to the Assembly for them to conclude on it. There is very little that I can do. You know, unfortunately, much as I am leader of majority, I only lead one house. I don't lead both, and I can't control legislation in the other side of the house. That's why Kimani will come next to give their report. we have concluded on that, Parliament. The pension that you receive is based on what you contributed during your time as a member of Parliament. It is our proposal, and this is something, because eventually we will do an exit report of this session of leadership, that to stop this push and pull, because Treasury have been quite clear with us that they want to stop this business of pension by contribution of other Kenyans and moving it to 100% contributory, just like it is for Parliament. It is a policy position which we need to take, and once it's adopted, we will agree so that at the beginning of a term of a legislative arm, either Parliament or the County Assembly, or even for governors, because Governor Waiguru also keeps on pressing us about this because of their colleague governors, that once this decision is made that we go contributory 100%, that will be the direction, and we will implement that needs to be done. The final thing that I want to say on that particular regard is that we have, Your Excellency, challenges of party leadership in our legislative units, the County Assembly. And I remember at one time, you did direct that we need to make a decision. And perhaps during the plenary session today, Your Excellency, because you did guide that this is going to be a consultative meeting, it will be important that we make a decision on how party leadership is attained in our county assemblies, because the Secretary General will report to you that almost on a weekly, if not monthly basis, there are disputes that arise from county assemblies. And it is the feeling of most members that sometimes, due to their proximity, of course, to national leaders, there is control from the county government to a level that is not effective on the executive side towards the county assembly. That once that decision is made, the political party's amendment that is before Parliament right now, we will put it in law drafted, because as it is today, the parties unilaterally make a decision. But we need to draft it in law so that we make a final decision on how leadership of majority leader, whip, and their deputies is attained at the county assembly, so that we no longer see this business of people coming to vote at the party headquarters. I know it's not an easy decision, but it will be interesting to hear from the members that are here on that particular matter can be resolved. I think, Your Excellency, I have done my 10 minutes. I had two other things that I wanted to say, but I feel I need to respect the fact that you guided us on time. The final thing, I know this is not very easy, Your Excellency, but I have said, I don't know which language to use, that there will be a plenary session. The things that I forget, please raise them during the plenary session. And if you see me avoiding, it's because I don't want to delve into that particular topic, but you have the liberty because this is a council. I want to speak on the issue of shareable revenue. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, you have been a senator before, and you know our perspective on shareable revenue and the dispute that we've always had with our colleagues from the National Assembly on how resources are shared between the two levels of government. While we celebrate that we have moved, actually, it is during the tenure of this administration that we crossed the 400 billion mark. It is the position of the Senate that a lot more still needs to be done. If you see what is being done in our devolved units, you will appreciate, and I know for a fact that we don't have an endless pool of resources, and it's not an easy decision sometimes to decide. But given the balance of power between our House and the National Assembly, I want to argue before you, Your Excellency, today, that in many of the national government projects that are being done today, that there is a correlation between the national and the county governments. After perfecting of the model, it is possible to transfer some of those functions to counties, because our devolved units equally deserve the opportunity to grow and become stable units of administration the way it was decided in our county government. And while I say that, I'm speaking about markets, I'm speaking about some of the housing and some of the rural roads, Your Excellency. I know it's a controversial topic, but that is our position as the Senate. With those many remarks, I beg to submit. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Leader of Majority, makofi. Wacha sasa tumuulize Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah, National Assembly. Aseme jambo ni fire si fire.
UDA ni fire si fire. Asante, Your Excellency the President, Deputy President, our Prime Cabinet Secretary na viongozi wote, hamjamboni. Mine also I have 10 minutes, and Your Excellency, I will not repeat or bicameral processes that we passed in the National Assembly, and many of them being money bills, they had to emanate from the National Assembly and were completed in the Senate. But Your Excellency, you remember back in 2022, as you told us at the beginning of this session, you did indicate to us that our manifesto, in fact you said, sio gazeti, la kusoma na kufunga nyama. And you said, when we christened it as we were drafting it, the plan, that it was a call for action, and it was a plan of work to be done. And we did commit in our very first parliamentary group meeting, the joint parliamentary group meeting that we had, the very first one here, that the legislature, both houses of parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, will be facilitators of this plan, and we shall never be disruptive of the executive in their implementation of the plan. And I must take this early opportunity to thank all members of parliament, those in the National Assembly, and our brothers and sisters in the Senate, because indeed they have been very supportive and become facilitative of the implementation of the plan and not disruptive. And even under very difficult circumstances, Your Excellency, the events of June 2024 with the finance bill of June 2024, the immense misinformation and disinformation that went into that bill, and the consequences of our actions as parliament, many people around the country vilified members of parliament. But the president was very firm. And I remember, Your Excellency, in your State of the Nation address last year, you did indicate that indeed when the history of the transformation of this country is written, parliament and the legislature of the 13th Parliament, the legislators that sat in the 13th Parliament, will indeed have a paragraph on the story of the transformation of our country. And that transformation, Your Excellency, as my brother Aaron has said, did not just begin with what we committed to Kenyans as we campaigned together on the question of universal health coverage, on the transformation of our agriculture, but moving on now to even what you have called or christened the Singapore dream, or the journey to Singapore. That indeed, Your Excellency, as we put on page 10 of our manifesto, and I had hoped the Secretary General would have shared a copy of our UDA manifesto and the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Part of what, Your Excellency, you have been speaking to is the establishment of a National Sovereign Wealth Fund and the National Infrastructure Fund that we actually put in black and white on page 10 of our manifesto. And we say that we shall establish a national infrastructure bank. We call it a bank in our manifesto, and that is what we are now calling a fund. And I know there are discussions, Your Excellency, on still how to actually implement that as a fund or as a corporation. And why not, for the support of many of these legislatures here in the National Assembly and in the Senate, we will not be where we are today. We can see light at the end of the tunnel because we know we'll be able to actualize that dream of moving our country from a third world to a first world nation because of the commitment and the dedication of members of parliament who become facilitators of that dream and that plan that we sold together to the people of Kenya. Your Excellency, when last year but one, in 2024, Parliament was heavily criticized and vilified because of the finance bill, you encouraged many of us here on June 25th or 26th when you called us, and together we agreed not to assent to that bill, that with time, Kenyans would come to realize that indeed Parliament was right. And I say that, Your Excellency, because later that year,